Hello, my name is Amelia Pexock, and I am going to explain my Master's of Education proposed research study in this presentation. So my proposed research questions include: what are the most effective teaching strategies to advocate and support English language learners in science content courses? I specifically would like to work with high school biology classes because that is what I teach. So my sub-research question is: what are the most effective teaching strategies to advocate and support English language learners in a high school biology class? Typically, this class is made up of all ninth graders, but I do have a few upperclassmen. But for this demographic, I'm just going to say high school biology class. And then my counter question includes: what are teaching strategies that can be harmful to English language learners? Because I would like to try to avoid using those strategies because I do not want to hurt the education of my English language learners. So the importance of the research: there are high population of English language learners, especially in California. I currently teach at a school that has over 80% population of English language learners. There are all three levels, meaning emerging, expanding, and bridging within all of my classes. And it is extremely important, due to the high population, that I find these good strategies to help support and advocate for my students. As America is a great place to live, there are increasing numbers of English language learners within California public school system. As of 2018, there was a 19.8% enrollment of English language learners within the California public school system. And it's also important, specifically for me, but for all teachers, to provide an equal opportunity for all students to learn. So teachers need to know what these strategies are to help this high population and increasing numbers of English language learners. And teachers also need to be able to be the voice for students who may not necessarily have a voice of their own. So to me, this is a really important question to answer because I want to be able to provide my students with the best possible education that they can get, especially in a science class, which might be even more difficult for somebody who is learning English. Some of my resources include a code of ethics for educators. Still need to be ethical when teaching. Principles and guidelines of universal design for learning. Within this type of learning, there are three principles. One is multiple means of representation, multiple means of expression, and multiple means of engagement. Teachers need to start using all three of these in order to help their students, but it can specifically be helpful to English language learners. California Department of Education, California Common Core state standards. Teachers need to be aware of the standards that for their grade level, and we need to be teaching at these standards, if not above these standards. I've used a lot of university education programs, meaning specific universities and their educational programs for teachers. I've used a lot of information from these universities, educator guides, and then most importantly, my resources come from teachers. I have a lot of articles written by teachers and strategies and advocating skills that they use within their classrooms. For my research, my methodology, my participants within this research study include teachers, specifically science teachers, and then ninth grade biology students that are classified as English language learners. I am not going to be observing students that are not English language learners because it is not relevant to them. My materials include interview forms, observation forms, and assessments, and I believe this will take about 1 to 2 months. It really depends. I am specifically focusing on one unit. It depends on how long this is going to take, but my assessment at the end to evaluate the English language learner's knowledge really depends on how long that unit takes. So my procedure: first, teachers within science areas are going to be given interview forms. I've decided to expand my teacher pool to all science content courses, meaning physics, chemistry, biology, anatomy, physiology, just so I can get more of a data pool. The interview form includes questions such as how long have you been teaching? How long have you been teaching at this specific site? Because my specific school and district has a lot of English language learners. How many students do you have total? How many English language learners do you have? How many emerging, how many expanding, how many bridging English language learners do you have? Please state 3 strategies that help you support English language learners. Please state 3 strategies that help you advocate for English language learners. What are some strategies that have been ineffective? And how do you assess English language learner progress in language acquisition? The observations, classroom observations will be conducted, usually about an hour per classroom, trying to conduct as many as I can. My observation form includes what the classroom looks like, see if there's grouping, maybe graphic organizers, and then during the classroom instruction, I will write down any strategies that I see. And then the other procedure would be students would be taught a specific learner or a specific unit and assessed over time. An example that I have come up with based on my literature review, an effective strategy is to use cultural relevance. So for a biology unit would be evolution. For 2 classes, I would teach evolution evolution on the Galapagos Islands. For my other 2 classes, I would teach evolution on the Channel Islands, which is where my school district is located. We have access to the Channel Islands. We can get out to them very easily. So I would like to compare and contrast if students are understanding the Galapagos evolution versus the Channel Islands evolution better. It would be likely to show that the Channel Islands, the students who were being taught the Channel Islands unit would have a better understanding because it's more relevant and they have access to it, whereas they don't have access to the Galapagos. And then at the end of the unit, I would use an assessment to see if they have understanding of evolution. So for my data collection and analysis, that both teacher interviews, I would collect them back from every science teacher, and I would see if there were similar trends. I would come up with a data table to see which strategies are used most commonly. Over observations, I would do the same thing, see what observation or what techniques and strategies are being used amongst the teachers. And then my assessment, I would compare the 2. I would compare the Galapagos versus the Channel Islands to see if there is any difference, to see if that is an effective strategy. So that is a specific strategy that I will focus on. And then the other, from the teacher interviews and observations, I can come up with other strategies and advocating strategies as well. So that is my proposed research study. And that is it. Thank you.